All right, welcome everybody to the Ridge Runner podcast. We have with us today the one and only Tristen Knight. Been hanging out up here at the Knight Forge Studios. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Knight Forge Studios. And he is quite the knife, the bladesmith and the swordsmith. He's making some really cool stuff, and I'm like, we got to do a podcast today. And just, you know, if you people are that are just listening, you know, it's kind of a bummer because you're not going to be able to see all this stuff. But if you go over to YouTube, you can see it. How's your volume? You need less or more? Less.
I can hear you.
Can you hear you?
I can hear. Yeah, I think I'm good.
I think levels are good. There we go.
Okay.
If you need more or less volume, just let me know. It's kind of, everybody's different. And then you could probably hear Scout in the background. He's here in the studio with us. So he wants to chime in his 2 cents. But Tristen brought out all kinds of stuff, including this big piece here. What is this? This is like video game meets. This is awesome.
Yeah. I call this the Wraith. This is just kind of a wild fantasy piece that I did recently. It's wrought iron sanmai, which has been something I've wanted to try for a while. And
you don't have to explain that for people.
Yeah. Okay.
So
sanmai is a you could think of it. It's almost like just like 3-layer Damascus kind of.
Really?
It's like a steel sandwich.
Yeah. So what's going on there? Like what?
Yeah, so it's a high carbon steel core.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sandwiched between 2 pieces of wrought iron from an antique wagon wheel. A lot of old wagon wheels are made of wrought iron, which is
you're talking about like the outside piece?
Yeah. Like the tire. Yeah. And it's a really you can see it's kind of like a very grainy looking material, which is what I love about it. It just looks organic. It's almost got like a wood grain look.
It really does. I mean, now that you explained what it is that makes a lot of sense. That's really cool. That took some time.
Yeah, this was I think so. I also did this.
Oh heck yeah! Look at that.
This carving in the pommel here on this is a.
Is that just part of the antler that you carved out?
Yeah. This is just the crown or the like the root. And this would just be kind of.
So I want to overlay some pictures and some video of this over this so you guys can actually get a good close up to see it, because it definitely needs some, like, you actually need to see this. It's not. This is bizarre. And how did you do what is that? What kind of twine? What kind of round is that?
Yeah, this is some jute and some kind of cotton cord, like a brown cotton cord. This is I have a great book that has loads of wrapped. I love doing wrapped handles.
I've noticed that.
It's
that's like your thing.
You could. I think every piece on the table here right now has a wrap of some kind, and I like to do it just because it's. I don't know. I just like it. I just like to do wraps.
It definitely sets it apart. Like you don't see that every day. But also like with this piece, it makes it. Mm-hmm. It gives it that kind of gritty.
Yeah. So this is I kind of imagine this as like a sort of a fantasy pirate piece, like
Sea of Thieves meets
sort of. I like to think of like the concept of like sky pirates, like and so I ended up doing did kind of a little bronze eye patch in the skull there, and he's got a little.
This had to take a long time to do.
It took me a while to carve this because I wanted it to be like a pretty anatomically correct.
You succeeded.
Skull,
did you carve it before you put it on? Like
yeah.
So you carved the handle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I didn't originally have a blade for this. So
Really?
I there was a couple different blades that I had considered putting this piece of this carving on, this pommel.
You matched it up really nice, man.
Thanks. Yeah,
that is such a cool, and even down to the details of the blade holder.
Mm-hmm.
Did you forge all this too?
Yeah.
Man, that's really cool.
The I don't know what to call this piece that's just gonna hold it up, but the
throne,
the steel
the
portion of the stand here is forged out of a railroad spike.
That is awesome. That's one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
I really like it. That is really cool. Now, is this elk or is that white? Is that whitetail? Do you know? That'd be a big whitetail.
I feel like it was like, was it red stag?
Or like a stag.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. Like polished up there. That's so cool.
Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite pieces that I've finished.
You like sit this beside your bed at night?
It just sits up in the house right now.
I mean, this is like zombie breaks in your house. You're a sky pirate all of a sudden.
Oh yeah,
I dig it.
Thanks.
So Tristen, he makes like a wide variety of stuff. I've seen things from you today that's like everything from a bushcraft blade to the sky pirate sword. So how does that work? Like,
I just do what I feel like doing, I guess, at any given time. And of course, my favorite kind of things to make are sort of these like short swords, these Japanese inspired swords that I do.
Where does that come from? Like, what's the inspiration behind that? You just like it, or was there something like that you just enjoy about the Japanese?
Yeah, I just like their style.
Yeah.
And they're not really like the most useful, like kind of I don't know. People think there's some kind of magic about them, but no, they're cool.
Yeah,
they're just cool. I just like the design of them. I like the sort of.
Well, there's like a to me, like for the Japanese stuff, like that's like the pinnacle of bladesmith in the old world, isn't it? Like you look back and it's like the samurai sword was like it was the most prized possession. It was like the blade during that time period, and that's what I like when I look at this stuff. That's what I think of.
Yeah,
like,
well, that was just like the sword in general at in medieval times. True. It was like just anybody didn't have a sword. Yeah, that was across the board pretty much.
Like, do you know much about sword history? Like, you know much about it? Like, was a sword like super expensive back then? I'd be curious to know. We should call in like the pawn shop guys.
Yeah, that might be.
Put them on. Like the samurai sword, was it like the just so expensive you couldn't afford it?
Like, well, so and maybe it probably varies across cultures. I don't really claim to know a whole lot of sword history, but I don't know. I just like what I like. I guess I think what I have discovered is that a lot of Japanese swords actually seem to be influenced by even older Chinese swords and Korean swords. That's just something interesting that I found.
That is interesting.
The design is you can look at a lot of old Chinese and Korean swords, and
has the process changed a lot?
There's guys that still do it the exact same way that they've always done. They still smelt down the iron and fold it 3 or 4 dozen times and refine it. They still do it the same way, and it doesn't always end up. It's not really some kind of mythologically amazing steel. Like it's not like It usually ends up being pretty okay steel. I hope nobody takes offense to that.
Well, I mean, back then, think about like it was probably unbelievable for the day,
mm-hmm.
but I mean, we kind of have done steel up.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not the same as it was 2,000 years or 1,000 years ago.
Yeah. So I use modern steels. I don't I don't make my steel out of dirt. Basically, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's really, really cool. I'd like to do it one day. But I use just a lot of modern high carbon steels. 80 CRV2 is probably my favorite steel because it's easy to work with. It's easy to forge. It's easy to heat treat. So I say that I do Japanese influence stuff, and I do, I don't do it totally traditionally. I don't necessarily care to do it that way. Mm-hmm. It's cool, I'll always think it's cool, but I do it the way that I learned how to do it. So
that's awesome. So you got 3 more pieces here. Yeah. Like, let's talk about some of this stuff.
Yeah. So
did you make the Kydex? That's a big old piece of Kydex.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So this is one of my. This is what I call like a brutalist wakizashi. It's very and this one has a extra long handle. They typically wouldn't have a handle this long. This is kind of like my interpretation of the wakizashi, which would be like the what I like to call the inside sword that a samurai would have carried back in the day.
I'm just saying I would strap that on the side of my backpack. Sword,
yeah.
What kind of handles did you use on that?
Yeah, this one is a maple handle that I stained.
I've noticed you do like, so pardon my lack of term, like I don't know exactly what you call like the whole like diamond. I'm seeing a lot of that kind of stuff on your handles. What?
Oh, the ornament there. Yeah, that's the Manuki.
And what does that mean? I mean, what like, is it just like a decoration type?
It's a kind of a multi-function thing. Sure. I think it's an ornament.
Yeah.
It's a sort of an index point.
Yeah.
As well.
I found that too. Like where you put it, it's super comfortable, like in your hand.
Yeah.
Pick it up, like.
And the way they're traditionally oriented, the way you'll see on most swords that I've seen, they're and I'm pretty bad with a lot of the terminology too, so hopefully I'll just use English for most of this. But
please use English.
You're gonna have the higher one on the left side of the blade and the lower one on the right, and that's how they're oriented on 90% of the swords I've seen. And it's but there are no, like, historically they're like samurai were all right-handed.
Really? I did not know that.
And so they're and
they were right-handed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's but they're kind of, they also traditionally there would be a like a your pin right here, the Makugi pin would hold the handle on, and your Manuki on the other side would keep it from.
Oh, I see.
Keep it from going through. So and I don't claim to be an expert about the history or why they did things certain ways or not, but and I think
that's all that stuff's up for debate anyway.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of
like a whole bunch
contingency about.
I love the wrap on that too.
Thanks. Yeah, this is one of my favorite styles of wrap to do. It's just the kind of very traditional Japanese Ito wrap, sword wrap.
I like it. Now, what's the deal with those two? Did you make the sheaths on the other two?
Yeah.
Is that something you made?
Yeah.
Really?
So these are more.
How do you make that?
These are more of my some that I've done that are more traditionally mounted.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's crazy. So I'm gonna lay all these out and actually do some close-up footage of them. So I'll overlay that while we're talking about these things, because you gotta see this up close to appreciate it, because that's bizarre.
Yeah, so this is like and these may be kind of odd sizes, so I don't know if this is exactly a wakizashi. It's a little short. It might be more like a tanto or an otanto.
It's more of an EDC sword.
Yeah, it's just kind of in between a sword and a dagger, kind of like and
I love that. This whole piece here that you did.
Yeah.
You mentioned that one of the ones we'll talk about later matches your shirt there.
Yeah. So this is the Suba.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of wrought iron Subas because it just looks cool.
It looks so cool.
This is from a ship chain. From an old ship, that just huge chain links, and it's probably hard to see, but you can actually kind of, I don't want to poke you in the face, but you can kind of see it's like this kind of matrix of squares that look like they're all squished together. So really cool piece.
Can I see?
Yeah,
that's crazy. And then this whole little, and so this one's more traditionally mounted.
Yeah, and so that one can actually be disassembled.
Yeah. Tristen, this is amazing. This is a work of art.
Thank you.
Like, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks.
That Damascus is just all the eyes. I mean, it just goes together so well.
Yeah.
What'd you use for the ornaments on this?
That is musk ox horn.
Musk ox horn.
Mm-hmm.
Good gosh.
Yeah, these I've done maybe I've done like 4 or 5 of the more like traditionally mounted ones, and so
is
like
that hard to do? Like that whole mounting is that harder to do, or is it aggravating?
You want to be you got to do a lot. I do kind of a lot of redneck math on them, because you just want to, you don't want them to have any wiggle room, really. Like you want everything to be fit up pretty snug, and that, they do come apart. The little green pin you see in there, that's pretty much all that's really holding it together. And I can knock that out,
really, and
take the whole thing apart down to where it's just a blade, and it's pretty cool. I learned a lot of how to make these parts from kind of just looking at a book that I have.
Really,
I feel like I'm pretty good at looking at, like, learning how to do things just by looking at pictures.
The handle is really cool. What did you use for that?
Thanks. Yeah. So it's wrapped in stingray skin.
Yeah.
And
that's stingray skin? Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and this this piece is it's like processed more so than that you'd see, more than you would see on a lot of traditional swords. It's
goodness.
It's all polished and stained and stuff. But
that is something else there. And you made the sheath and everything?
Yeah, so this is the saya. And it's just I use poplar, and it's pretty fun to make these.
I bet so.
And like I said, you got to do a lot of what I call redneck math, and sort of to just figure out how everything's supposed to fit up. But
that's a like with the it's like everything's on a little bit bigger scale, but it's almost like the tolerances are tighter with a lot of this stuff. I mean, at least yours are. Good gosh.
Yeah, and this is one of the. Hopefully nobody gets cut.
Yeah,
in the process.
Like if you get cut with this stuff, it's more like you lose an arm.
And so this is another one of my traditionally mounted ones.
Goodness. Is that stingray skin too?
Yeah, stingray skin.
That's
and
so
more
cool.
Wrought iron. I've done some with bronze.
Yeah.
guards and furniture.
I have to butcher some sheep later this year. We should break out one of these and butcher some sheep.
Okay, yeah.
This is like this. That's like it would just like heads off.
Yeah, I mean, they're well. The beauty about doing this craft is that they're, it's not just a piece of steel that's shaped like a sword. Yep. They're heat treated. They're sharpened. And I think that's the beauty of handmade knives and swords is that they're made. We use modern tech and modern tools, but they're made exactly like they always have been. And they're made even though we're not really sword fighting anymore. Right. We're not cutting each other up anymore, but they're made as though they were going to be used. Yeah. So
these aren't toys at all.
No, and
that's the thing. It's the real deal.
Yeah, it's what
and it's kind of hard to it's kind of almost frustrating to try to describe these because unless you have it in your hand, it's very hard to talk about. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's such a very unique thing.
Yeah,
we could it's the Japanese. They had like a 1-man or 2-man sword or 3. How many people it would cut through? We could do sheep swords. So,
oh yeah, yeah. We could.
Just do it'd be a 2 sheep sword.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember there's a weird sword. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like for sacrificing goats or something.
Yeah.
Just weird, long sort of weird curvy thing.
Yeah, the Middle Eastern people, they have some very odd, like scimitar looking things. Very odd.
Yeah.
That's their knives are pretty. I've seen some from over there, and they're pretty wicked looking.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I wouldn't want to get cut by one.
No. Yeah, no. I love swords. They're just one of my favorite kind of things that exist, really.
Now you are you gonna make Blade Show this year, Atlanta?
Yeah.
You gonna be down there?
Yeah.
You gonna have some swords?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I always try to bring some cool stuff to Blade. I'm going to what I'm really trying to do this year is kind of stock up, and that way I'm going to try to avoid the 2-week crunch before the show. Me and my wife got married 1 week before Blade Show.
Oh my gosh!
And it always, actually this year it's I think it's going to come a week late. I think it's going to be the second weekend of June this year, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll have a little more time. But the past couple of years, we haven't had a chance to have a real anniversary.
Yeah,
because I've just been crunching for Blade Show. But I promised her I'm not going to do that this year. So I've just been kind of trying to build up an inventory.
And some of these are going to be coming to Ridge Runner too. Mm-hmm. So these are going to be our swords. Some of these guys.
Oh yeah.
So we got some special things in the works with Tristen. He's going to be doing a lot of stuff for Ridge Runner on a broad spectrum.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Why don't we talk those 2 bushcraft knives that you had?
Okay.
I think I laid them right over here. All right, back from hunting for the knives. So he has these 2 models here that we're going to be bringing to the store. You want to talk about these a little bit? Because these. 2 of my favorite knives I've seen in a while.
Okay.
This one specifically is it's a beast, man.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so this is a 1/4-inch thick. I just call it a bushcraft knife. I don't really do bushcrafting myself, but I've just from
it's a knife.
Talking to people that do and listening to kind of the things that people seem to want in a bushcrafting knife, and I just kind of made my take on that. So it's pretty thick and it's ground all the way down to 0. So
I love this thing.
And I've actually done the feather sticks with this. And like I said, I don't do bushcrafting, but making feather sticks is one of the things that you want to be able to do. And I think having that
Oh yeah.
That pretty stout edge geometry.
Yep.
Is helpful with that, and you just sit there and kind of
be a really easy knife to touch up to, like sharpen. Like that.
Yeah. So
really, I mean, is it technically a Scandi grind? Is that bottom grind? It's such a really, it's like a really deep grind. I love it. I dig it.
Yeah. So
it's a beast, but it doesn't feel like it's too big. Like a lot of 1/4-inch knives, it feels like it's just too much, but that is just
okay. Yeah,
well, I love it.
Yeah, that's good to know. And so I'd really like to get these in some people's hands and see what they think.
We're gonna do some really
feedback on them.
We're gonna do some cool stuff with. Maybe we can get old Joe Flowers over and we'll do some bushcrafting with him.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my world there. So we're gonna be going nuts with this thing.
Cool.
Is that ADC RV2 as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is going to be 90% of the knives and swords that I make.
What's the exceptions? Like, what do you use?
Sometimes I love to use like found material, just because I can.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't always end up being magical, but I kind of like the novelty of it, I guess.
Sure.
So I've used like leaf springs. People are probably wondering about railroad spike knives.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as a high carbon steel railroad spike. Fight me in the comments. But I've forged hundreds of them. I don't typically make knives out of them, but I've made this part of this stand here, and all this is a barbecue fork, basically that I bent in order to be part of a knife stand. I've forged hundreds of railroad spikes into knives, and quench them right in water, which will harden anything that's high carbon. Sometimes it'll even make it blow up. And I've never met a hard one.
Really?
I hate to bust everybody's bubble who thought that railroad spikes would make a good knife. You can make like a knife.
But they saw it on Forged in Fire.
You can like sort of make a knife out of one.
Sure.
And
I mean, no, the best knife is the knife you've got, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if that's the only one you got, then it's probably a good one.
Yeah. But like I say, I do enjoy using a lot of different found materials.
What do you think railroad spikes are made out of?
Metal.
Just plain old metal.
Plain old metal. I don't know. Spam.
It's melted down Spam cans.
No, I'm just saying I've never encountered a high carbon one. Even you'll even find some that have a HC on the head, and
they're not.
Even those I don't know what that means. So if anyone knows what that means, let me know. But I don't think it means high carbon because they're still soft as they can be.
They're fun though.
But they are fun.
It's a great place for people to start, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It's a great kind of thing to learn with. Don't steal them. I'm not endorsing that.
I'm surprised. And I don't steal things, so I don't really know like the laws or like you can't really. But we went over to Bryson City the other month and rode the train like through the mountains there, and there's a little railroad. There's like the track everywhere, just laying along in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, why does people not steal this stuff? Like, I come from like crackhead country. Like, it'd be like those. You would think, but come to find out, there's nothing you could really do with it.
Yeah, the track itself is some kind of hard steel.
Yeah,
and those little clips underneath it, they're like these squiggly kind of. I've made blades out of those. That's usually
pretty good.
Some kind of high carbon steel. It's maybe not the best, but it's cool because I like the concept of kind of if you're in a pinch and you need an edge.
Yep.
What could you
Mm-hmm.
make something out of? And so something I have thought about wanting to do, and people have done this before, but I've thought about wanting to like see how good of a knife I can make out of just absolute junk, like as a challenge. Just like just try to I don't know, go, people have done that before, but go out in the junkyard and
Yeah.
find every material that I need to
Mhm.
make a complete knife. And I would make it, I would want it to also look cool too. Like I think I'd even make it like pretty neat looking, actually, like do
Yeah. Well, I have to say, you really wouldn't have to go far to find an edge around here, or
Mhm.
something to make an edge.
No.
Because I've never seen so many blades laying around everywhere.
Yeah.
It's pretty. It's spectacular, actually.
Yeah.
It's like a knife junkyard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, that's I'm glad you mentioned that, because another practice that I've kind of been doing here recently is taking some of these knives that end up just out kind of on the junk pile out there. Actually, this one I was telling you, this is a knife that I kind of reformed out of one that I just didn't like, and I didn't. Sometimes you end up with a knife that you don't want to finish. Like you just, you thought you knew where you were going with it, and for whatever reason, you end up hating it, and something doesn't work out.
Yeah.
But what I have done recently with a lot of pieces, and they end up sometimes being some of my favorite pieces, are these pieces that I've just kind of chopped down. Yeah. You can always see like another form inside of a junk piece. So and so that's what this is.
So what are you calling that model? Come up with a name.
I called this one the Reformed Hunter.
Reformed Hunter. What about the big girl? This guy.
Oh yeah. What did I call this? Oh, this is the Thick Boy.
The Thick Boy. All right, so Reformed Hunter and Thick Boy coming soon.
Yeah. And I don't know. That was just, I just thought that was.
So are you saying it's like a Calvinist hunter? Like a
yeah, I guess.
Reformed. It's like a Calvinist hunter.
Yeah. This one could be the Armenian.
So many of my friends are going to be dying right now.
Yeah.
We have so many jokes. I like it. So when are we going to have some of these?
Soon, I hope. Yeah, I got.
I'm excited about these. The Reformed Hunt. I love that name, by the way. That is stupid nice.
It's not like a hunt. It's not like you're gonna hunt Calvinists.
No,
like you're
gonna hunt Catholics.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. No,
no, it's
nothing against Catholics
or Calvinists.
If y'all are listening.
I love it, man. It's like it's really cool, and it's so lightweight. You did a really good job with this. I am so impressed. I love it.
Thanks, man.
I really do love it. I'm excited. I dig it.
Cool.
You to not be a bushcrafter, you can make a bushcraft knife.
Cool. Good. That's good to know.
That right there is going to be fun.
Yeah, I can't.
We're going to have some fun with that.
I can't wait to get some feedback on them though, because
I've taken it's just amazing how thick, like really, like heat treated ADCR V2. Like it's such a good steel. It's my favorite. I've taken one thinner, like a knife about that same size, thinner than that, drove it into a tree and used it as a springboard to get up to something.
Oh yeah.
And my 240-pound butt didn't break it.
Wow.
So I don't know. Pretty awesome.
Nice.
I love it.
Yeah.
And that's the ADCR V2 as well.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. Tristen, you do fantastic work.
Thank you.
All the way across the board.
Thanks.
They tell me, let's like, because we didn't really get into any of it all. We got a little bit of time. So take me back. When did your interest in any of this happen? Like what was the tipping point where you're like, because you and your sister both kind of jumped on this bandwagon. What's the why? Because you don't see this very often. You don't see multi-generational anything anymore. Why this? Like, why did you jump on the bandwagon?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. So my dad, Jason, was doing this when I was, from the time I was a little boy. He started to make knives full time, and for a long time I didn't really think I wanted to. I liked it. Like, I thought it was cool. I didn't just hate it, I wasn't just like, oh, that's stupid, but it wasn't really all that interesting to me. Like when I was a lot younger, I was just more into I've had so many different interests across
like
the board.
What would you as a kid, Tristen, as a 12-year-old, what was going on?
Yeah, I think at that time I had started to think a lot about I wanted to work in like game development.
Really?
And do kind of with the intention of doing like storytelling through that medium, through the medium of video games.
Were you a big video gamer? You enjoy it?
A little, like.
What was you into? Like, what made you want to do that?
Let's see. I loved like The Legend of Zelda and Metroid, a lot of those old Nintendo games. And of course, who wasn't into Skyrim for a while? But kind of a lot of those like sort of adventure games, like fantasy and sci-fi kind of adventure games like that. And I'd say like one of my favorites is the Knights of the Old Republic. Star Wars.
You still play?
Yeah.
You play some?
I catch a minute every now and then.
Yeah. That's kind of hard.
Play some games.
You got a wife and almost 2 kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I'll usually I'll catch a few minutes in the evening and play whatever games I might be into. But I don't mind. Like I love just playing with my daughter. She's 14 months old.
That's awesome.
And I've gotten her into Hot Wheels cars. I have a huge collection of Hot Wheels cars, and
it's what's awesome about that is it makes Jason a grandpa, which makes him old. He's officially old.
Yeah.
I love it. That's does she like knives? 14 months old.
I don't know. I don't
get her one of those little Victorinox like plastic. Knives.
Yeah.
Started out young.
Haven't really introduced her to knives yet for some reason.
I mean,
might just be because might be just because she's kind of a baby.
Yeah.
But
don't want her waving around the chef's knife.
Yeah.
Or one of these.
But now so I was raised on like wooden swords.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I do like kind of casually enjoy gaming. I'm not like
you're not hardcore, but
not really. I don't play anything online.
Because I see like this here. This is like straight out of like Elder Scrolls, maybe, or I don't know. Like it's such a cool piece, but it's so tasteful. Like so many people would appreciate this. It wouldn't have to be like it wouldn't have to be a gamer or anything like that. It wouldn't even have to be somebody into like fantasy stuff. Like this is something anybody could appreciate.
Yeah. So I've turned down a lot of commissions for doing like video game and anime replicas, because it's just like I I don't really want to do things that
Yeah.
are not my design.
Sure. But that's hard though, man. Like that's most people would not turn that down because it's such an easy way to do something.
Yeah.
When I pull out the Reformed Hunter, I don't see anything else in it really. It's very, very unique, and you made it your own. Like it's
Yeah.
And that's so hard, and it's hard to do something tasteful in that way too, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see a lot of stuff that's just out there, but like
Over designed,
overdone, and like they try too hard. Like it is a knife, and we've been making them for thousands or however many years, a long time.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I don't like you have a very unique style, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, thanks. I've really been getting more and more interested in even simpler lines, like even like just doing. I want to start working on some stuff soon that's just pretty straightforward lines, like not a whole lot going on, but maybe like an interesting grind. I like doing a lot of interesting compound grinds, and I want stuff to look like sort of like foreign and otherworldly, but still like realistic,
and approachable.
Like still something that you can imagine people actually using
for sure.
But at the same time having a kind of fantastical look. And so I've been,
it's like I think back to like I listened to some of interviews with George Lucas.
Yeah.
And like when he did Star Wars, he used like modern everyday things and made them look like kind of otherworldly.
Yeah.
You can tighten that up. It get kind of loose. It's all right though. It'll pick you up all right. But he's got like this. I kind of think about that's when you were talking. That's what I kept thinking about was like he kind of went the other way a little bit, I guess you could say. He took like modern pistols and stuff like that, and then made them like, made them that way. You just fix it. It's fine. Yeah, it's just better to do it.
Am I doing that right?
Yep, you're right. You're gonna be a guitar player before you know it. Cool. Lead singer.
Yeah, he's just like kit bashed a lot of stuff.
He did.
Like
he did, like some of the old pistols and stuff. And, like they were just like old German war pistols and stuff from World War II.
Yeah, super cool. I love that kind of thing.
I do too.
But
people would never know that. Like we weren't like I sat there and watch Star Wars, and I never would catch that.
Yeah,
because it was just like the placement and everything.
Well, all the ships are just made out of like cannibalized model kits.
Yep.
Like super cool stuff. He was like the first.
Just
he was like
genius,
the first
man.
kit basher.
It's like the first genius.
Yeah.
Like it was just I don't know. I get a kick out of him because it was like it still looks cool. Like it still looks good.
It looks the original Star Wars movies look better than 90% of the movies coming out in the year 2024.
I know. I love it.
We watched the latest Transformers movie the other day.
I haven't seen it. Was it good or not good?
I don't know. It's not super good.
Yeah.
Like not really.
Yeah.
I mean, it just kind of so like back in like 2007 when that first live action Transformers movie came out.
So good.
That movie, like that's one of the movies that kind of messed me up as a kid, like kind of ruined me.
Yeah.
Cuz that was like the first like giant robot movie, and it was freaking awesome. And
it was.
And
if you were a teenager, like at the time, that was like, I mean, you couldn't get any cooler.
Yeah, and it just kind of, it's weird to me because I swear the newer ones don't look, like the animation and stuff doesn't look as good as the first one. Like
really?
All the way back in 2007, how does a giant robot movie from 2007 look better than?
I have this theory that, and I think it's the same way with video games. It's budget, and time. So many video games now have been ruined by these big companies that they're forcing these developers to come out with stuff when it's not done.
Yeah,
not
for
ready.
sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like they're rushing this stuff, and maybe the first edition they didn't rush so much.
Yeah, I think
You know?
that's probably on the money there.
I don't know how we got to start talking about that, but
Yeah,
it was interesting.
Well, I had said, because when I was
Oh
when I was a young kid, I thought about video games a lot. And I thought I wanted to do that because I thought like I had some really cool ideas that I still haven't really seen in any games. That I don't know if it's possible or not. But I've kind of I still think about it sometimes, but I don't really. I've tried my hand at coding. Excuse me. And I it's just not my cup of tea. And I think I get it. Like I understand, I get it, but it's not. I don't enjoy it, and so. But I would want to be the guy that kind of if I was involved in game development, and this is maybe just kind of dreaming, but I just want to be the guy that kind of tells everyone what to do. It's this is the game we need to make, and
here's the storyline.
I'm gonna hire a bunch of people to write the code and stuff, and maybe I'll draw some images and this or that, but I don't know. I just feel like but I've more or less kind of moved away from that. Not that I never think about it, and I may here and there throughout the years I've kind of dabbled in that, and at the time I didn't really think I wanted to make knives, and I had made a few here and there. I don't think I really understood the process of heat treating for a long time. Yeah. Maybe just because I didn't pay attention, but that was a mystery to me for a long time. Why are we how do you know when how do you know when to heat treat, when is it ready to heat treat? So there was a lot of these things that for a while were just kind of over my head. And
was there ever any pressure from your dad
No.
to do something?
No, I mean my parents always encouraged me to do what what I'm interested in, and so
so you didn't ever have anything from him anything you felt like you had to do it or anything like that? It's something you felt you genuinely kind of fell into?
No, any of that would have come from people from outside, people who weren't even relatives.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, those people don't matter anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't tell you how many times back then, people would be like, "So you're going to make knives, right?" People that I'm like, "Do I know you?"
Yeah.
I don't know. And so it wasn't really what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I would say so fast forward several years, and I grew up in South Carolina, but my folks moved up here to Tennessee back in 2017, and my dad got moved into a new shop, and my friend Curtis Holland kind of shared some of the space with us, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but he was really the one that kind of encouraged me to get into it, because I was kind of just wandering around the shop one day, not really doing anything, and Curtis was kind of just like, why don't you make a knife? And I was like, yeah, shoot, why don't I make a knife? I don't know, and it kind of hit me it got really nothing else to do. Like, and we already have all this equipment, and I kind of know how to do it. Yeah. So I made this goofy looking little, kind of a mini kukri, called it the mini kook. And I think I sold it that day, like the day I finished it. Posted it up and sold it. And I was like, well, shoot, that feels pretty good. And here I am. So
that was about 2017.
Yeah, 17, 18, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe 2018.
That's incredible. You've come a long, like, I mean, and there's probably, like, you've been around it your whole life, but, like, that's incredible. Like, what's that, 5 years?
Yeah.
6 years, something like that? I don't know.
I don't know.
24, something like that.
I'm not that good at counting.
This is good. Come here, Scout. Scout's here being the guard dog for the podcast. It feels like all these Tennessean squirrels are antagonizing. Yeah. But that's just, that's pretty cool. Now, what years, because like I said earlier, like I'd never watched Forged in Fire. Mm-hmm. Like I never saw y'all on that at all. So I don't even, what years was that?
That was like 15, or at least, oh gosh, I think really? That show started in like 2015. I've seen like 10 episodes.
I haven't seen one.
I could
Maybe
count.
I should go watch it.
It's
I just never have seen it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who've gone on it.
Yeah, I've met more people that's been on it than I've seen on it. Like that's it's kind of funny.
Yeah, people ask me if I'm going on it all the time. I'm like, for what?
Yeah, why would you do
for what? For why?
Yeah,
like
did that at all? Like, just curious, and if you don't have to answer this question, but did it negatively affect your perception of the industry at all?
You know, I do think it may have had a part in sort of saturating the market.
Yeah.
It kind of, I think I don't really think it's been like all bad. Mm-hmm. Some people are totally like curmudgeon-y about it and think it was all bad, like Forge and Fire. There's nothing good about it, but I don't really think that. Mm-hmm. But I might even say that it. I don't know. I might even say it has done more harm than good.
Yeah.
Like you'd think it's done a lot of good because it's like raised
awareness. Maybe
it has. I'd say it has raised awareness of the craft. Mm-hmm. But I think it maybe also. Kind of sort of saturated the market a little bit.
You get people doing stuff for the wrong reasons too, you know. Mm-hmm. So you get people just wanting to do it for the fame or they think they can make killer money doing it or something. I don't know that there's killer money in knife making.
Not really.
Unless you're killing things with the things it's the knives. But well, cool. Well, you got a cool spot here to work.
Yeah.
All these anvils sitting around is pretty cool. Are those old like German anvils or?
I don't know. They're just we just get them wherever.
This is the coolest shop though, because you got like motorcycles, you got a lot of metal, you got knives, mm-hmm. swords, everything else. So
yeah, there's probably a bunch of tools in here that we should be using that we don't really, but
well, I mean,
we love the new shop, man. It's
pretty
amazing.
Sweet.
Pretty sweet. Totally an upgrade from where we were.
Yeah.
Our old.
Now, do you live here on the compound?
Yeah.
Too? Oh, that's awesome. That's pretty sweet. Well, cool. Tristen, thanks for being on here. We'll do it again.
Yeah, I'd love to.
And
it's been.
We'll
awesome.
We'll talk some more. You guys watch out for a new menu item called Tristen Knight. Is that the full name? Is that Tristen Knight?
Yep.
Blades or designs, or do you have like a just Tristen Knight?
Yeah. So my my the name of my business is Meridian Designs.
Meridian Designs. Okay.
And Meridian is what I put on a lot of my and that's just a word I like. I don't really. That's like my my made up world, I guess. Like my my mythology kind of. Yeah. Which is something that I want to sort of incorporate more into my blades. Yeah, my website's just tristenknight.com.
You're on Instagram too, right?
Yeah.
Tristen Knight?
Tristen Knight Bladesmith.
Tristen Knight Bladesmith. You guys should follow him on there because he posts a lot of stuff. You post a lot of photos and stuff you're working on.
I try. I should post more. But I need to do more like process kind of stuff. I've been trying to practice doing more. Just doing more interesting content for people to see, but and
we're gonna be shooting a lot of content coming up with Tristen too. We'll have some cool stuff coming to the store and a lot of cool media to partner it up. So
yeah, I'm excited, man.
Let's end it with one last one because that thing was so cool when you pulled it out. Let's just end it with that.
Oh yeah,
that was just super cool. I don't know why, it just makes me want to grin.
Yeah, so this is just another Tonto kind of this one is sort of traditionally mounted. This one is actually glued solid. It's can't be disassembled. But it's got another wrought iron Suba. And this is actually the exact same one.
I know, I was looking at that.
That's here on my shirt. I usually when I do these, I like to take a photo of them on a black background, just because
they're all different.
It just looks, super artistic looking, and you just can't beat just the.
Is the 3 dots any significance at all, or just super cool?
Oh, it's just aesthetic. Just
makes people ask questions.
Yeah, and so this one has like a much wider blade than a traditional one would. I like to do that kind of wide blade look on a lot of them. And it's a brute to forge.
Yeah, I love it.
Finish.
That's probably just a one sheep knife.
Yeah.
Probably just you get one sheep with that. Just people are gonna think I'm so weird.
Yeah, this one has I did some interesting Minukis on this one too.
Just take a look.
Little
that's sweet
copper with some texture in it.
I like those. Is that like JG10 pins that you got in it?
Yep. Yeah,
that's so cool.
I usually use G10 for the pins in these. Even the.
I'll tell you what, I haven't picked up a dull knife up here. Everything up here is just like.
Oh, that's good.
Goodness gracious, it's so sharp.
All our kitchen knives are dull. We need to. The ones we use at the house, they're all dull. Not.
That is so cool. I like this size a lot. Like this is like, to me, it's my favorite one.
Yeah.
What handles did you use on this? Is that something?
That's like ash, maybe.
Really?
That's
so cool.
Stabilized ash, I think.
Tristen, you're killing it, man.
Thanks.
That is fantastic. Well, guys, thanks for joining us here on Table Full of Swords today. We'll be back with another episode. Stay tuned. And Tristen, thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun. All right, see you guys later.